last night I watched a video of a couple. I think they're in America. Is Love to Dream
100%.
worldwide?
They
So
have
love.
to be in America. Yeah,
So are Love to Dream swaddles worldwide?
I'm
They
not
must be.
sure.
I
They must
wonder.
be.
So in Australia, the Health, which is red nose, say don't use them because they've been associated with a lot of SIDS and SUDI cases. But then is that just because they don't have bedding?
Um, that baby had nothing on under
I know.
that Love to Dream. I don't know if you noticed.
So that came up on my feed last night, and it was a baby, and it was parents, and they were showing their baby waking all night long, and
Yeah,
mum was trying to breastfeed, and I am watching that video and I'm going, surely this cannot be normal. If this baby is waking up all night, how is this mum ever going to get enough rest to get decent breast milk? How is she ever going to get this baby sleeping? But as you just said, the baby had no bedding. So if anyone wants to know what we're talking about, if you go to my stories, I've shared the video twice. It breaks my heart because I know that if I went to their house with my bedding, they don't have to do my routine. They don't have to do any form of sleep training, which isn't what I'm about. If I went to their house with my bedding, gave that baby my bedding, their baby would be sleeping in 4 to 5 hour stretches.
yeah. I'm
Why?
wondering. I'm wondering whether this couple are influencers and are getting paid for their publicity,
Okay.
because that has to be a joke.
So this is a very interesting topic because Mamma Mia, is it called Mamma Mia Outspoken? They put up a post last week or the week before, and it said that there was a person and they wanted help with their baby's sleep and all of this, yeah? And I got contacted by somebody to say, oh, they don't think it's even true. Like all of these people were tagging me. So all it was doing was causing my inbox to fill with tags and fill with people saying,
Yeah.
Tizzie, please help this person, please help this person. And doing research into this, it looks like you just hit the nail on the head. It looks like these influencers or these websites like Mamma Mia put up this as a bait, pretending somebody's
Yeah.
having really bad sleep problems to get paid for the interaction.
Yeah. And the thing is, I put a post, I actually commented on that video because I was like, this is ridiculous that mum's in a, I think she's in almost a long sleeve. Then they've got doonas on, and this baby's going to bed in a nappy and a Love to Dream, and that's it. Not even at the base of the bassinet. Like, it was just horrible. I put a comment and I said, I think that this baby is cold. This is what I would suggest. And at the end of it, rather than, getting all the haters, I actually wrote, I'm happy to help. Like, I would love to help, with a love heart. So if that is a genuine parent who is having sleep issues and sees a comment like that, they should reply.
And I sent them a private message saying, I'm happy to help you. No sleep training. You don't
Yeah.
have to do a routine, nothing. All I will do is send you my bedding, and that will alone get your baby sleeping and turn your feeding totally different, more successful because
Yeah.
you'll be getting rest. But the problem is, it looks like they've got millions of followers. So with them, it's like, yes, if it was a genuine problem, they get back to you.
Yeah.
But it can't be fake because you wouldn't have your baby crying like that if it was fake. What does
I,
anyone else think? Can people say in the comments, do you think people fake this for attention? But then in real life, uh, I have had so many people show me their babies sleeping like that. They follow the packaging of these swaddle companies. Then I contact them, I give them my bedding, and their baby sleeps perfectly.
yeah.
What did you always use bedding, didn't you?
So I was gifted Love to Dream and a whole bunch of stuff for my baby shower. One of the things I was gifted was the Save Our Sleep book, but I had nothing apart from that. But because I've got so many nieces and nephews, I was wrapping just with a stretch wrap myself, but I didn't use bedding. Kingsley was born at the end of January, so it was like 30 plus degrees. I was like, oh yeah. But it wasn't until I started reading a book, and I was one of those idiots, and I've said it on, here before, Thought, oh, I'll buy the wrap first and then I'll buy the bag. Oh, and I might buy a couple of blankets. I bought everything bit by bit. It ended up costing me a bomb, doing it that way. And then the
Can I pause
last,
you there for a sec?
yeah,
Did each bit increase your sleep by a little bit? Like, did each bit help?
it did, but I was getting so excited that I was getting this better sleep and I just wanted more. It was almost like an addiction. I was like, okay, the book is saying by now I should have this and that. So I just kept wanting more and I was enjoying, the 4 hour blocks and the 5 hour block and, the fact that there was no dummy and, even though I didn't give her a dummy until 5 weeks old and that had a short life. It was never for sleep. It ended up creeping into sleep. And then I was like, no, I need to apply this fully. And as I told you many times, I ended up throwing out, or not throwing out, selling my oval cot and getting a normal cot, so I could get the mattress. That was the final piece of the puzzle. And I
We've
just
talked about
basically
this before.
prolonged, yeah,
I'm going
I
to pause you for a
prolonged the
sec.
inevitable.
I'm going to pause you for 2 seconds. One is Laura Phillips says, these videos are trending. They're popping up over and over again when I'm not feeding. You see, and I get that, Laura, but what's really interesting is if you have a video, I don't think people realize this. So if you have a video, I've been trying to tell Brooke, but she's like, you can't make money from it. You can. If you have a video that trends on Facebook or Instagram and you get hundreds and thousands of comments, you get paid. My videos some of my videos get 1,000 views, but I've got one video from the other day that's got two. It's about a little boy going through a stair gate, going through the banister, and he's going through the banister and it's too wide, and the dad's fitting a stair gate, and the little boy's going through the banister, and I'm getting, I've had 2.6 million views, but I have been paid $400 by Instagram
Yeah.
for the views on that video. So if I'm getting 2 point something million views and they've given me $400, are these people torturing their babies in order to get, did you think that's too hard saying torturing?
No, I'm just saying I think they're attention seeking. I don't think they know any better. I've been trying to tell you this for over 12 months. People go to a driving school or they learn how to drive, they get a driver's license. They go to university, they become a doctor, a lawyer, whatever. You go to TAFE, you become a builder, a tradesman, whatever. There is no how-to guide on how to be a parent or how to be a mum, in my opinion. Now, I've grown up, I've got siblings, 10 nieces and nephews. I thought I knew it all. The minute it happened, I was like, whoa, I really need to step back because what I know is just the in and out. I pop in and out of my nieces and nephews' lives. I don't do the overnights. Well, I have a few times, but not. There is a methodology behind this. And you and all the people that follow Save Us Our Sleep can attest to that. You have basically formulated a how-to guide. This is what I think you need to rebrand to. It's almost a how to be a parent guide, how to, some kind of course or somewhat, because people don't know any better. So I can't sit there and say that these people are doing it on purpose because how do they know any better? They're only going to practice what they've learned from being raised themselves or people around them, which is super frustrating. And I'm not trying to blow wind up your skirt, which is compliment you too much. I didn't just stop at how to sleep and feed Kingsley. The behavioral stuff that you talk about, there's so much in your books that, how to travel with your child. Like there's so much information that is not just about sleeping that people don't realize, there's so much to know about
Mm.
children that you have. And I think that it needs to be rebranded like how to be a parent or the parent's Bible or the how to something, because people assume that all you're doing is fixing
Yeah.
babies that don't know how to
Well,
sleep.
Alexandra Craig, my original editor, she's moved to a new publishing house. I think we need to contact her, and I think we need to make little small books, like tiny little handbag size books on.
Yeah.
And maybe they need to be this simple. Maybe it needs to be the first 6 weeks.
Yeah.
The second
Yeah.
6 weeks, you know.
Yeah.
Now, Angela keeps saying she's trying to join. I'm really sorry, Angela. I don't know why it's not letting you join. I'm
Get her
so
on.
sorry.
I don't know how I'm going to cope with two Irish accents, but
It's just not letting her. Instagram doesn't want to let her on. Let me just look at
oh, can
people's.
I can I invite her? I wonder. What's this button? No, wrong button.
I've tried. It just keeps saying Angela's unable to join. My baby was born in the middle of Queensland in a heat wave with no air conditioning, so we used a muslin wrap. Now, so that's interesting, Sonia, because your baby comes out of your tummy. Your tummy is 39 degrees or 37 degrees. Sometimes the water from the movement or whatever is a bit higher. Okay. They come out and suddenly you think because you're in Queensland, they're roasting. They're not. Even if you have no air conditioning and the baby's room is 30 degrees, they need bedding. But I think you then started using the bedding and your baby started sleeping. So I think maybe that's what you're saying. SJ says, I think it's a real video. Yeah, I do maybe think it's a real video. And I wish there was a way that we could contact the family and let them know that their baby is not warm enough. And that's why their baby's up. And it will really, but let's not worry about them anymore for a minute.
Here I am. They let me on. Fantastic.
Angela, I can see you for the first time in my life.
Well, you've seen me, surely.
No.
No. Hi,
I've never
Lorna.
seen
Lorna's
you like a
watching.
moving Angela. No, Angela,
The
have you
Queen.
had to retrain your brain to not use Irish phrases in Australia?
Yes, originally I had, but 18 years later, I think Well, Brooke, you've met me. Do I still have the Irish sayings? Hi,
You,
Sinead.
I think I was dropping more swear words the other week when we caught up at the beach than you. So I think Aussies are just as bad.
Yeah, maybe. I just wanted to go back to what you were saying about that lady who had her baby
Yeah.
in bed with no clothes on. Um, the
Yes.
video that you were talking about, yeah.
Yes, go back.
I just wanted to kind of say that, like, when we have our babies in Australia, they wrap them up in a beautiful little bundle. They give them to you. It's roasting in the hospital. Everybody's sweating. We ask the nurses to teach us how to wrap them like that so that we can do it when we go home. And the nurses never say to us, listen, we do this because it keeps your baby nice and warm, it keeps your baby nice and comfortable, this is why we do this, and this is very safe, and we would encourage you to do this when you get home. You know, the room settings here are at a higher temperature so that your baby doesn't get cold. None of that information is provided to you when you're in the hospital, despite the fact that we nearly, if they handed us a baby without them being wrapped up like that little bundle, we'd be so disappointed because that is our expectation, that they have them nice and warm and cuddly with their little hats on. But nobody explains why they do that to us. So as first-time mums, you leave home, whatever the new fad is in terms of, swaddles or, new gadgets. So, in Australia, it's Love to Dream and Ergo and, the new swaddlinis and all that sort of stuff are coming on. The snoo is the new big thing. So we go home and our friends say, oh, you should use this or you should use that, or what's advertised to us as new mums. As soon as we Google,
Marketing.
swaddles for babies, you'll get the biggest brands coming at you left, right and centre. So that's why I think, these mums go home, we buy all this stuff, and then we realise, if we're lucky, that we need to change a lot of our practices. But the misinformation, I suppose, that's out there for us as mums is very challenging. And I think there's an error in the point of contact where we're in hospital, where, our nurses and our doctors are not explaining their practices in the hospital, and then they're leaving us to go home completely blinded. They tell us everything about breastfeeding. They have a helpline for breastfeeding. They have a helpline, for health. But actually, they never once tell us, like, listen, we've wrapped your baby up nice and cozy and warm in here. We've set the temperature at 26 degrees. That's why you're sweating.
And can I pause you for 1 sec there, Angela? And the other thing which I think we need to point out in that situation is, right, these babies are sleeping in hospital in a warm room on a plastic mattress, because they have to use a plastic mattress for hygiene,
Yeah.
in a plastic crib with no airflow.
Yeah.
They are cooking in hospital.
Yeah.
We bring them home, and the first thing we do is seem to be strip all the bedding away.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, you come home, and if you have a baby in Australia in the summer, like, you'll see a 2-week-old baby in their You know, they're
Short sleeve.
the best pram that money could buy, $2,000 pram and a vest on and singlet. And
Yeah.
my kids who are 2 and 3 have got more clothes on than this newborn baby. But people are fear-mongered into thinking that all bedding is bad. And nobody
Yeah.
tells us otherwise. So when you're in hospital, nobody tells you that it's okay to
Yeah.
use a blanket on your baby. Years ago, like probably Tizzie, you know, in Ireland, everybody used blankets on their baby. It was common practice. They also, you know, used to put us all on our bellies, you know, but blankets were commonplace. So it was the norm for us as Irish people to see babies with blankets. In Australia, it's probably less the norm for young mothers to see babies with blankets because of the environment itself. So to try and, I suppose, change somebody's way of thought is very challenging. And when medical professionals, when you're day one mum, aren't explaining to you why they're using bedding on your baby in a hospital, and not promoting that, then you're kind of
On your own.
you're on your own, and you're going to believe what the majority are saying, all your friends and your people who are using all of these products and all of these fancy bassinets. And you also you get this sense of community. Like I used to go to mothers group, and I couldn't go to them because I was completely alienated from those mothers, because they connected on lack of sleep and, oh my God, my baby's crying, and did you do this and did you do that? Whereas I was sitting down drinking me coffee when my baby was asleep for 2 hours in the pram. So there's a sense of isolation if you are the outlier, baby who's sleeping. And when you try and give advice, people don't want to listen.
Yeah.
People don't want to hear you say, like, you can see my baby sleeping quite happily. You can see that I've put them to bed really easily. You can see that I'm sitting here having my coffee while you're all sleeping. Your babies are crying, and I can give you some suggestions, but nobody wants that.
Yeah. I wouldn't say nobody wants it, but it is. Yeah, Angela, you know me as well as Tizzie. I don't really care what people think of me.
Hello.
Hey, I don't really care what people think. So I'm loud and proud about following Save Our Sleep and the approach and a whole bunch of other things. So there are some people that will be receptive, but it is a
Yeah,
bit of
and
a
you can
push
see
and
a lot
spit
of the girls
uphill.
have joined there today that have been listening to me blue in the face with Save Our Sleep and all, follow it. But yeah, I think it's part of that as well. So if you've got 10 people in a mother's group and there's one person who's got a sleeping baby out of that mother's group, they will all connect against you. They go, oh my God, did you see she had a baby with the blanket on? Oh, God, it's just that, So they all connect, and you're kind of the outlier, which becomes the
But then you
person.
also have the opposite, where you have a mum at mum's group who has a baby with blankets and the baby's sleeping perfectly, and then people ask her and then they get the blankets in it, because we see that. Like, so we will
Yeah, which,
see
as
one
I said, you've got a
person.
lot of my friends here online who have seen that, but that's the minority in my experience. 3 babies later, unless you've got a close friendship with those people, and then you can explain, and they know, yes, I've seen your baby. I want my baby to sleep like your baby. If you go to just your average mother's group, that's not what anybody wants to hear.
But we do have a certain amount of people who come along and they find out about Save Our Sleep, and they have a baby who's not sleeping and is
Yeah,
up all night like the baby in the video, and then they try the bedding and it works.
yeah, it
And
works.
then
Everybody knows it works.
yeah, and
Convincing
then
people.
you can tell that they tell their friends, because what happens is you'll see one person get all the bedding, and then you will see in that area, like 2 weeks later, 3 more people buy all the bedding in one day, and then you'll see, like, 2 weeks later, 4 more people in the same postcode buy the bedding, and then when I look into it and I contact them, they say, oh yeah, my mum's group, and you can tell that they've gone to mum's group like every other week or whatever.
We're on a live with Tizzie from a father's perspective.
Hello.
She wants to know from a father's perspective about Save Our Sleep.
Best thing ever.
Why?
Such a good baby, well behaved, routine. Best thing in the world.
So was your pre-Save Our Sleep life very different to your after Save Our Sleep life?
Well, there was no babies before that.
Well, you did have a few weeks where you weren't using the bedding. So was the pre-bedding worse than the with the bedding?
Well, Chris sleeps in a different room because he snores. So yeah, he doesn't have the issues. But yes,
Yes, I can't really comment on that one.
Okay, so let's look at it this way, Chris.
Yeah.
Was your wife happier after she found the Save Our Sleep community and the Save Our Sleep bedding?
Yes, very happy.
I'm presuming you're married.
Yeah, we're still married.
No, I'm presuming you were married in the first place. I called her your
yeah,
wife.
Yes,
we're,
yes.
we're married and still married. So that's a good thing to note.
Yeah. Okay, Lorna says, thanks so much for getting my two to sleep. Angela wouldn't have survived without the advice and the SOS approach. Yes, Angela is amazing. She's fantastic. She helps so many mums in the Happy Baby Sleep Clinic. So yes, big yell out to Angela, and then Mary and Brooke as well. And then Mary says, thanks, Brooke.
Angela's the queen of travel. When you want to travel, how to adjust your baby.